This game has been remade no less than 3 times. That's right, this is the 4th iteration of this hour-long on-rails shooter. And I absolutely adore everything about it. StarFox is such a reminder of what gaming really is and what it used to be. See, before the days of long, drawn-out cinematic masterpieces, it was just about having a good time and enjoying a game for its gameplay mechanics. You'd run to the arcade or boot up the Super Nintendo and just replay the same levels just because it was fun, just to see if you're better or worse. I can't tell you how many times I've ran through Super Mario World just to do it. StarFox on the Switch 2 is still one of those games. And honestly, that can be a bit awkward in 2026, and we'll get to that. See, I'm actually kinda shocked at the mostly positive reception that StarFox has been getting. But don't get me wrong, I am here for it because I have been enjoying this game so much more than I thought I would.
I just really enjoy flying around in the R-Wing and trying to do a flawless run or keep my teammates alive and find all the hidden pathways. Something about the gameplay of StarFox is just enjoyable.
Now, before we get too far, I'm gonna let everybody know a big, dirty secret of mine. The only StarFox game I've ever played was StarFox Adventure. Yeah, the 3D StarFox that wasn't actually supposed to be a StarFox game. I think it had something to do with dinosaurs, maybe? But they turned it into a StarFox game, and yeah, I actually really enjoyed that game. I would love to have another StarFox Adventures, but that's not where we're at today. Outside of StarFox Adventures and playing as Fox and Falco in Super Smash Bros., I haven't had so much as one shot at Dr. Andross. Not until StarFox on the Switch 2.
The ocean planet? What's your angle?
I do think that actually speaks to how strong these characters are, because even without playing any mainline StarFox game, I already really liked this cast. I felt like I already knew StarFox and Falco and Slippy and Peppy. I've used the line, "do a barrel roll," mostly as cringy dad joke moments with the kids.
Do a barrel roll!
I've never played that moment in the game, I just knew about it. Somehow these characters are so iconic that even without experiencing them as a kid or at any point really, I already felt attached. But now I know why they're so timeless. This game personifies what it means to be Top Gun in space. Fox, of course, is Maverick with his Tom Cruisian good looks. And Falco is Goose. Except for he's a falcon and he doesn't die in the end. Now, I had almost no idea what I was getting into when I picked up StarFox for the Switch 2. And actually, all the talk about how short the game was leading up to release had me kind of worried. But thankfully, that was all quickly put to rest on my first playthrough. Because, yeah, I had technically made my way through the game. And yeah, it only took just over an hour. But that one clever line at the end of my first run let me know that I still had work to do.
I don't know, Peppy. I've got this funny feeling. Like it isn't over. Like maybe we played right into Andross's hands.
And upon looking at the map of all the planets, I realized there was a huge amount of levels that I hadn't played. And just like that, StarFox brought me back to a place I hadn't been in 20 years. I was excited to replay a game. Not in a new game plus type of way, I've done that aplenty of course, but in a sit down as a kid at the Super Nintendo and just play type of way. There was this feeling of, oh, I need to run this again and try something different. I have so much to figure out and new areas to explore and high scores to reach, and it's just fun. I wasn't going back through to experience this dynamic story. I was just playing to play. And so I started and played through it again. And again. And again. And again. All right, you get the point. I think I'm actually about 6 runs through by now. And I honestly haven't been as excited to just replay a game endlessly arcade style for a very long time. And I think that's really just a testament to how fun the gameplay is and how finely tuned StarFox still is even after all these years. The R-Wing controls perfectly, and it gives you enough control and maneuvers that you always feel like you have options. You can hit X to speed boost or B to slow down, which allows you to avoid obstacles or outpace certain enemies. Then you hit up on the D-pad to perform a loop to get behind any tailing enemies or get the drop on somebody in the multiplayer mode. And if you're in multiplayer or one of the free roam sections of the game, you can hit down on the D-pad to kind of do a little 180 and head back the other way. Kind of like doing a 180 in Resident Evil with the tank controls. I found all of this really engaging and actually a little bit overwhelming at first. Doing a barrel roll to avoid damage and trying to speed up or fall back to avoid obstacles, trying to loop around to avoid enemies tailing me. I honestly didn't know what to do where on my first run through the game. Because as somebody who, again, hasn't played StarFox, and my only game anywhere near similar to this was Panzer Dragoon. But as with anything, over time, you start to really grasp how to take advantage of these maneuvers, and then you really start to see the levels open up. Suddenly, you're able to do things that you just couldn't on that first run through. It's kind of genius, really. And going even further, the challenge mode puts all of this to the test, tasking you with accomplishing various objectives, like finding a hidden wormhole or destroying 10 proximity mines with a single bomb. It gives you that fun little extra challenge just to keep you going after you've grown bored with the standard playthrough. Now, another really cool aspect to this game is the branching pathways. By completing various quote-unquote hidden objectives, you get access to different paths that help you chart a new route through the Lilat system. For example, there's one map where you're chasing a train, and you have the option to hit all of these switches along the way, which in the end will divert the train right off the tracks and into a wall, allowing you to bypass that stage's final boss.
No, wait! Hit the brakes! I can't stop it!
Alright, now enough glazing. Of course, the game isn't perfect, and as a new game in the year of our Lord 2026, it faces some hard truths about gaming in this day and age. See, games have evolved, and so have players. And a game like this that really leans into the, yeah, it's short, but it's meant to be replayed mantra isn't something you really see anymore. Not outside of sports games and fighting games, and even then they try to give you a reason to keep coming back without doing repetitive tasks. And sure, StarFox does leave a little to be desired. I want more from these characters. I was just starting to get to know Fox and crew, and then it was over. I mean, Falco practically shit-talks you the entire game, and by the time he comes around to seeing Fox as a good leader, the game's over.
We're going to have to start working like a team. A real team.
Last I checked, a real team needs a real leader.
And there really is no build-up to make Dr. Andross this big bad that they make him out to be. Remember, this is a game from a simpler time where you really didn't need a reason to fight the big boss at the end. You just did it because it was the final boss. Now, outside of these small gripes, I don't actually have an issue with the length personally. And after playing it over and over, it really hasn't made me feel any less about the game. I'm more than happy to keep playing what's here, and I do feel like I got my money's worth out of StarFox. But at the same time, I can acknowledge that if this was a new IP or tied to a less storied franchise and platform, that this probably wouldn't have went over nearly as smoothly as things did with StarFox. I've also heard some people complain about the voice cast and some of the changes to the lines and gameplay, and while I did really enjoy what's here, I don't have that connection to the original game, so I'm gonna leave those critiques to the people that do. Alright, now on to multiplayer, and this could actually become one of my first big multiplayer recommendations for the Switch 2 if they do a few things. For what's here at launch, I would caution you to expect a pretty bare bones multiplayer experience. See, there's only 3 maps and it's a pretty basic dogfight style mode. Now, if you enjoyed the few times in the campaign where you faced off against Starwolf and his crew in that 4v4 dogfight, then you're probably going to really enjoy the multiplayer. But I do hope that they add on to it over time, because this could be something special. Maybe adding in a ranked mode or a ranking system, and of course adding in more maps and more variety. Maybe add a mode where everybody uses the Landmaster tanks or the submarine. That'd be a pretty fun change of pace. New maps, a couple of varied modes, let players vote on things between matches, and I think you'd have a pretty fun time. But otherwise, without any changes, the multiplayer that we have here is fun, but a bit lacking. I'd say overall, the story and the challenge modes are still the main pull for StarFox on Switch 2. Now, I'd also like to touch on an aspect that I would like to include into all my reviews, and that's the dadability of the game. Or for non-parental viewers, just how easy is the game to pick up and play. StarFox is absolutely perfect for quick sessions. Missions usually only take a few minutes to get through, and there isn't really any micromanaging or menu work needed to hop in and out. It makes it really easy to hop in while you're waiting at an appointment, or while your kids are at sports practice, or you're on a long car ride. And it does have a co-op mode that is actually pretty fun to play. One player controls the R-Wing and is in charge of making sure that you get through the map in one piece. And the other player uses the Joy-Con's mouse mode to aim and shoot. It does take a minute to kind of get in the groove of working together, and the controls might be a little bit much for younger kids. But overall, I had a pretty good time here. And mouse mode in general works pretty well. You can also do this in single player mode. It changes you to a first person orientation, and you use the Joy-Con's mouse mode to kind of fine tune your aim. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but you can be fairly accurate. That being said, I did spend most of my time playing with the traditional control scheme. StarFox for me is a game that I strongly recommend. I think that there is a lot to love here, and it's a homage to a simpler time in gaming. And there's a demo up on the eShop, so at the very least I'd say hop in there and give it a shot. And I hope this is not only the first of many StarFoxes that we get to play, but the first of many times Nintendo kind of dips into their knapsack of classic franchises and pulls out something interesting for us. If you did enjoy the video and got some value out of this, consider liking and subscribing and letting me know what you think of StarFox in the comments below. Thanks for watching.